Thanks for watching my video. This is my favorite thing to make on the smoker. It's beef brisket. We're gonna trim it up and get it ready. This was pretty much a whole brisket. I think they cut the end of it off a little bit, but it was a good deal on it. They had a special price, so I usually wait until the price comes down. The briskets are getting real expensive. I think a lot of people are starting to try to cook with them, and you know, you're seeing it in a lot more menus and stuff, so people, it's just become more popular. But I really am appreciative of you coming to the channel and checking us out. We're gonna smoke some brisket and then we'll play some music. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody watching the previous videos we've done, and this one's gonna be a lot of fun because this is about my favorite thing to cook. So we'll go ahead and get started and trim this brisket up and then get it out on the smoker tonight. Let it smoke all night. It's almost 11 o'clock here in Tennessee, so we'll have it going through the night, and then tomorrow around lunchtime we'll have some good brisket to eat. Hope you enjoy it, and looking forward to going through this with you. Alright, so I hope you can see kind of what we're doing here. As you go around, you're going to see some areas where it's just kind of this color. It's just where the you know, the butcher shop or whatever cut the edges. You want to trim those off. We're going to trim a lot of this extra fat off. You've got really two parts here. You've got the flat. Let me see if I can turn it this way so you can see it better. But you've got the flat up here, and then there's a division, and then over here you have the point. So we want to kind of cut it. My smoker's a little bit narrow, so you can't put this whole piece of meat on there. So I'm going to cut the flat and the point into separate pieces. We may have to cut it into 3 pieces to get it to fit. But what we'll do is we'll start out here and we'll kind of go along this area, and we're going to cut the flat and the point apart as best we can, and get you can also see on this other side there's a big area of just fat and meat that you can't really use inside there. And as I cut and trim some of the excess fat off, I'm gonna throw it in a pan over here, some of it anyway, and you know, let the dogs have it. You can really take most of this off. You want to leave a little bit of a cap on the top, but we can cut a whole lot of this excess fat off. Kind of stinks too, because like I said, they're getting expensive. You're paying for a whole lot of stuff that you're just going to cut off these, but they're worth it. In the old days, brisket was really cheap. It was it's a tough cut of meat. You know, it's not like steak and some of the good cuts of beef that, you know, you can just throw on a grill and cook for a few minutes and it's ready to eat. The brisket, you got to cook it for a long time in order for it to get good enough to eat. It'll tenderize as it cooks out in the smoker. Just watch your fingers as you're doing this. I cut myself last week just getting in a hurry, and we were making chicken parmesan here at the house, and I'll show you guys how to make that sometime. But it's one of those things where I didn't have all my stuff together, and I was trying to hurry and get all the chicken going around the same time so we could all eat together, and just got in too big of a hurry. Just take your time when you're cutting. Sharp knife. All right, I'm going to try to get around this side a little bit. I'm going to turn this. I don't know if you can see this very well, but I just want to trim this edge off. It's kind of ugly and not what we want to be eating. So we got our flat. I'm going to come in right about here and start cutting this point off. We'll set that aside. Cut off a lot of this extra fat. We don't really need that. You turn it over and clean some of this stuff off too. You got some silver skin and some other parts. You really don't need to keep much of this fat on the back side of it at all. I need to get a smaller, more like a fillet knife. Make it a little easier to do this and kind of get in the creases a little better. Some of this you can almost just kind of pull apart. You can just pull the fat loose from the meat. But there's two different kinds of fat. There's some fat that'll render down, and then there's some that won't, that's just going to be gristle basically. So you want to get rid of all that gristly fat, and you want to leave a little bit of the fat that'll render down so you'll have some moisture in it and get some good flavor in the meat when you're smoking it, and it won't dry out. See, we've got a big kind of a triangle here of just hard fat. I'm going to kind of get rid of this whole area here. You can cook this down and make a beef tallow out of it too. What I'm going to do here is just kind of go along this edge and cut down here. This is our main flat piece. Got one more little area here I want to trim out. It's got some of that hard fat that you can't really eat. So we'll get rid of that. And then we'll just kind of trim this down a little bit. Really got most of it there where we want it. I'm going to keep most of this fat on the top here. There is a little bit more of that we can kind of take off. Alright, I think we pretty much got a good flat cut out here. Got most of that off. Now this is your point. You can kind of see meat runs in a totally different direction as far as the grain goes, and you can get all the bad rough parts out. I'm going to cook a bunch of this up, and then the dogs can have some of it, and we can save some for treats later for them. There's a little bit of meat in there, so it's not just fat, but I think some beef fat's good for the dogs. Shaylee does too over there. here is a little bit rough. Cut that out. You've really got kind of a pretty good piece of meat right here. And you can kind of just cut along that. Cut it right out. You've got another piece there you can trim up and cook off. Point part. You just want to get the different parts that have grain, the meat grain going in different directions, separated out. Because if you cut across, then you're gonna end up cutting with the grain in one part and against it on the other, and you want to cut your brisket all against the grain. You got that pretty good. This part, just need to cut some of this excess fat off, and we're about ready to season it up and put it on out. We can pretty much just take that right off. There's a little bit of meat there, but you're going to lose a little bit when you're trimming it up. There's just no two ways about it. Clean. Some of this away, we don't need to keep all of it. Alright, so we got really 3 good pieces to cook there, and then we're going to have a 4th. Hopefully we can get most of this cleaned up. You may have to sometimes just kind of start at an edge and hold it with your finger where you can get your fingers in there and pull up on it. If you pull and work against that, you can, works good for cleaning fish too. You can get the meat separated from skin or fat or whatever you're trying to clean off just by starting on an edge and then just kind of sawing your knife across it as you pull. Some of this fat Shaylee may want to eat. She likes the big pieces of fat. I'm just kidding. She doesn't like fat. this whole side here, I really want to get rid of that because that's that really hard fat that won't do we won't do anything with that. So we'll kind of clean this all up. I'm not going to have a lot of the fat cap on it, but it'll still be good. So we pretty much, let's pull this piece off too. I'll put that on there. All right, now we got a piece with a decent fat cap on it there. If there's gonna be real thin there, we're gonna just kind of trim that edge a little bit, clean it up. All right, so now we're ready to season it. I season the brisket with just about 2 parts salt and 1 part pepper. And then I put just a little bit of cayenne pepper in there with it. And you don't have to do that. Really, salt and pepper is all you need with brisket. But I just mix it up and reuse one of these little containers from some other seasoning, and gives you a real good shaker. Just liberally sprinkle it on all the sides of the meat. Get it on this first side, get all your edges. You want them to all have some good seasoning and bark on them. This is some Himalayan pink salt and black pepper. And like I said, just a little dash of cayenne pepper in there, just not a whole lot. You don't want it to be overly spicy by any stretch, but gives it a little more kick. That one looks good. The trick's going to be getting all this to fit in that little smoker. I think we can make it work though. We've got several pounds of meat here though, so the good thing about this is it costs a little money, but once you get it all together and cook it, you've got food for a few days. Or sometimes I like to give the neighbors a piece of brisket, one of these smaller pieces, and then we keep this big flat and eat it ourselves and share the rest with some of the neighbors or my family or whoever else wants a little bit. All right, so we got the brisket out today, and everything looks great. We're going to cut into it here in a minute. The stuff to keep in mind with these is cut against the grain, so you kind of got pieces going. You know, if the grain goes one way, you're just cutting straight across it. If the fingers are like the grain of the meat, then you're cutting across it like that. Should fall apart. I actually cook mine a little different than some people do. You know, I think a lot of folks want it to be really, you know, just on the point of starting to fall apart, and I like it a little bit past that, but hopefully it'll turn out good. And let's cut into it and see what we got. All right, so the grain of the meat's going this way, so we're going to cut against that. Kind of grab a hold here, see what we got. Kind of see there. What you also want to do, as the brisket gets wider, cut a little thinner. So that pointy part there, we cut it kind of thick, and then we're going to try to cut it as thin as we can as we go on through. Let's try a bite here. Get one of these little front pieces and see what we got. You can see it stays together, but it just comes apart real easy. You know, one of the tests is, can you pick it up and it still stays together, but it's real tender. That's good stuff. It's hard to talk with a mouthful, but I hope you enjoyed this. Really good dinner, and we're going to enjoy it tonight, and we'll play a song here in a little while. Thank you for coming again. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, please drop them in the boxes below. Thanks. All right, this song's called Weary Traveler. Weary traveler, beat down from the storms that you have weathered. Feels like this road just might go on forever. Carry on. You keep on giving, but every day this world just keeps on taking. Your tired heart is on the edge of breaking. Carry on. Weary traveler, restless soul, you were never meant to walk this road alone. Just hold on, weary traveler, you won't be weary long. No more searching, heaven's healing's gonna find where all the hurt is. When Jesus calls, we'll lay down all our heavy burdens. Carry on, weary traveler, restless soul. You were never meant to walk this road alone. It'll all be worth it. Just hold on, weary traveler, you won't be weary long. No, won't be weary long. Won't be weary long. Someday soon we're gonna make it home. 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 Gonna make it home. Weary traveler, restless soul, you were never meant to walk this road alone. It'll all be worth it. So just hold on, weary traveler, you won't be weary long. Weary traveler, you won't be weary long. Weary traveler, you won't